let's get into the top 3 suburbs to live in. And I'm going to start at the very top end of the inner west, and it's one of the most expensive suburbs in all of the inner west, and that suburb is Balmain East. So look, for those that don't know Balmain East, look, it's pretty much straight across the water from Barangaroo. It occupies a very small part of the southern point of the peninsula, of the Balmain Peninsula, and I mean, it's got some of the most expensive properties in all of the inner west of Sydney. So you get properties selling here for $15 and $20 million on a yearly basis, and that number's only going up. And you got a lot of these houses here have either views of the Harbour Bridge or Anzac Bridge. Some of them have direct views of Anzac Bridge, some of the Harbour Bridge, but depending on where you are and the view you've got in the suburb, that it depends on what you are. But look, you pretty much got, you know, I mean, you're straight across from Barangaroo, and I mean, from point A to point B, it's only a couple of 100 metres across the water to Barangaroo. So, look, this is just an article from Domain, Balmain East, Sydney's most expensive harbour view real estate, and that's kind of what it's like. I mean, that's what it looks like from some of the homes in Balmain East, which is just insane. So you get people that literally go on a night out and who live here, and they'll or work in Barangaroo or Wynyard, for example. They'll catch the ferry straight across the water or something like that, which is just incredible. There's not many suburbs in Sydney where you can do that and either go for a night out or should I say go straight to a very high paying job. But Balmain East is definitely one of them. Let's get into another suburb, and that suburb I've previously mentioned, but I'll mention it again, and that suburb is Haberfield. So for those that don't know where Haberfield is, it's basically right next to Leichhardt. It's basically between Leichhardt and Rod Point, or should I say Russell Lea. It's just along there. It's a really nice suburb. Look, Haberfield's full of it's a very unique suburb in the inner west because it's full of homes on very large blocks. Like, your average block in Haberfield's about 600 metres squared, but your smallest is like 400. And I mean, there's regular ones here that are above 1,000, some even close to an acre. So that's because Haberfield has basically these protections on the suburb where you can't subdivide homes like that. So it's very low density. It's pretty much all detached homes. And you have some that even sell for like $7 million here. The median of Haberfield's about $3 million. But if you look at the price per square metre, it's probably the cheapest in all of the inner west, so it's really good in terms of that. And the reason it has such large, should I say, blocks is because Haberfield was originally the garden suburb of Sydney. So this is just from a basically extract. This is actually on a wall here in Sydney, but this is what it was originally supposed to be. So Haberfield was known as the garden suburb of Sydney. So that's why you have the large blocks, homes with huge backyards, huge gardens, lots of parks and all that kind of thing. And it fronts Bay Run as well, which is one of Sydney's, I'd say, best known fitness areas that people go around and even walking and just lifestyle areas. So, I mean, for a family, it's probably, I'd say, one of your most livable suburbs in the West, and a suburb where I'd say you'd genuinely live the original Aussie life on a decent home on a large block. So it's one where if you've got a $3 million budget or so, it's definitely one to consider. I've even found stuff for literally about 2.4 to 2.5, believe it or not. So good suburb to consider, and that especially if you like your larger blocks and your land. Let's finish up with my third and final best suburbs to buy in the inner west, and that suburb is Rozelle. So look, Rozelle is a suburb, it's right next to obviously Balmain. It occupies part of Balmain Peninsula. There's two sides of it though. You have both the, should I say, Balmain Peninsula side, so the side that is on the northern side of Victoria Road, and the southern side closer to Lilyfield. The northern side is significantly better, I should say, but the southern's still good. And Roselle's about 2.2 to 2.4 million at the moment, so pretty expensive. But I mean, I've still picked up places here for like $1.7 million, 1.8 around that, and it's pretty good. You actually get a pretty good yield in Rozelle too, because I mean, the income in Rozelle, as you see here, is so strong. Like this is one of the highest in the whole country, to give you an idea. So you've got $3,196 average household income a week. And Rozelle is also a suburb that has some units by the harbour. It also does have a long-term resident population there too. So the people that are buying here are probably on above $4,000 a week. It's home to a lot of professionals, and you'll generally, for a 3-bedroom house, get at least $1,200 a week rent here, like quite easily, especially if it's fairly well maintained. So you get very good yield here, like well above 3.3% in some instances. So it's definitely a good suburb to consider in Sydney's inner west. And it's actually one of the best suburbs, in my opinion, as well, to invest in, but it's also a great suburb to live in. So that's why it sits in one of the best suburbs to live in Sydney's inner west.